On this webcast, we talk about branding, how to promote your event effectively, and the single parent summit that Tonia is putting on mid-July. Let's go. Hi everybody, this is Antoine Dupont with Katapult.Marketing, and this is webcast number 5 today with Tonia Adleta with Arabella Events. So
that always sounds so fancy when you say it.
Doesn't it? Yeah, with the accent. Tonia Adleta. So Tonia, please introduce yourself to the millions of people who will be watching this video later today. Who you are, what you do, and especially why do you get up in the morning?
Oh, those are all fantastic questions. First of all, thank you so much, Antoine, for having me. I am pleased to be here. So like you said, my name is Tonia Adleta, and I actually own 3 different businesses right now. The first is Arabella Events. We are a wedding planning and floral design company based in Philadelphia, but we go all over the place. Mm-hmm. The second piece is ToniaAdleta.com, where I am a speaker, and I also have a mentorship program for aspiring entrepreneurs. And the third that I'm getting ready to launch is the Single Parent Summit. And the thing that carries all of these together, the tie that runs through all of them, is the reason why I get up in the morning. And it sounds a little bit idealistic, but it's to make a difference and to do that by way of connection. Everything that I do has an element of creativity, connecting people together and working together to make a difference in people's lives.
That's awesome. Yeah, you can see that. I mean, we have your website there. You're a very creative person. And, you know, what I would say is you also add beauty to our life. Yeah, that's really great. So thank you so much, Tonia. So today we want to talk. We talked before we recorded this, and there was a couple of things we wanted to talk about. We want to talk about branding and event promotion, because I know there's a lot of people that are interested in, you know, how do I brand myself and how do I promote events? And you and I have different experience with that. So let's talk about branding first. You know, how did you brand your company, and how do you go about, and what's important to you to brand your company, whether it's your speaking or your event business?
Absolutely. So I think the first thing on the wedding planning side, because that's really where I started. I've been in the wedding planning business for about 20 years, which is really crazy to me that I've been doing this for 20 years.
Well, you look 25, so I don't get it.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that. It's all about the lighting, let me tell you. So I think on the Arabella side, I really had to get very clear on who my client was that I was serving and what it was that I wanted to be able to offer them by way of the experience that we're creating. Mm-hmm. So once you have that piece clearly defined, mm-hmm. then you reverse engineer everything else that you do to speak specifically to that market. Mm-hmm. And it was really interesting to then go into the branding on the Tonia Adleta side, because in many ways I was my own client. So mm-hmm. I wanted something that was going to be a bit more free-flowing, a bit more creative and expressive, and was really drawn to the idea of a watercolor type of imagery and also the color palette of the sea. So in Arabella mode, I'm, little black dress, great details, all about the professionalism. Mm-hmm. And then on the Tonia Adleta side, I get to be a bit more free-flowing.
Got it. So talk to me about your logo, and I think that's important in because that's part of your brand, and it's a beautiful gold logo, and I see transparent in the corner right there on your website. How did you go about creating that? Because a lot of people struggle sometimes with the logos or the colors, and they have some ideas. So I'd like to hear your thoughts on that.
Well, there's a very fun story behind this logo. And first of all, I worked with a professional. So let me say that. I know where my strengths are and where my weaknesses are. And I am not going to try and do something that is not in my genius to do.
Yeah,
so
by the way,
I hired a professional.
The caveat here is, by the way, we can all tell if you did it yourself, okay? You're not
that
fooling
is so true.
You're not fooling anyone, right?
Oh my goodness, that's so true. So my logo was done by a local company who I've worked with on the invitations and stationery side up
Mm-hmm.
here in Philadelphia, April Lynn Designs. And the reason why there is this beautiful pen that is a part of this is Arabella is the name of my grandmother's great-grandmother. So I'm
Mm.
the genealogy nerd in the family, and in the stack of documents, I inherited a love letter that was written to Arabella in 1812. I've got
Oh,
goosebumps as I'm telling
wow.
you the story. I get goosebumps every time I tell about it. But the idea of the pen is to denote this letter. So
Mm-hmm.
the idea of the legacy of a love story was crucial to the brand itself. So everything that we do has, a very romantic feel to it, but it's almost like traditional with a twist. We
Mm.
want to stay fresh. We want to stay relevant and do things that are unexpected and a little bit outside of the box. And at the same time, we really want to honor that legacy.
That's really cool. Well, I have a little bit of a different take on branding. Obviously, I do digital marketing, and I'm a competitor at the core. So oftentimes, I kind of clash with branding people because I think they're too romantic about the
Mm,
colors, the prettiness, and everything. And I'm like, listen, I'm all about making the phone ring, and and I don't think that is as important as you think it is. I mean, branding people have a tendency to think that it's all about branding, and then the sales guys like me are thinking, no, it's not about. It's really all about the messaging and how you're making the phone ring. Here's what I'm going to say about branding, which is great when you say I hired a professional. Is branding is, in my opinion, completely irrelevant in the process in what we're doing in branding ourselves,
mm,
as long as it doesn't get in the way. So let me say that again. It's like if I can sense that your logo was done by your 12-year-old kid, or if the pictures are not up to par, or if that, it's kind of like what you were saying about the wedding planner. The wedding planner needs to organize everything and kind of like disappear, like being not
mhm.
there. So this is my thought about branding: is branding should be like, of course your logo needs to be crisp and the pictures and everything. Like this is not even a thought in there that the logo should be professionally done, but it kind of like it's there. Yeah, I mean, you don't go to the Apple website and thinking, oh, wow, beautiful branding is just there. There's just a thing that's it. Does
Mhm.
that make sense when I'm saying that?
Oh, absolutely. I kind of think of it almost the same way as sound engineering when you're in a live event.
Right.
It's great sound management is
Right.
never noticed if it's done right, but the slightest thing goes wrong and it's all anybody's going to talk about is how bad the sound was.
That's exactly this. So this is why it's important that branding's job is to actually, um, just being like so flawless that people are not even paying attention to it. So if that's the issue, you need to fix that. This is where branding is important. But at the end, after that, then it's like, that's pretty much it. So get good colors, a good logo, a good website, because it's really super important. But then at the end of the day, this you're never going to have someone. Here's my thought: you're never going to have someone that is going to hire you or me because you have great branding.
Right.
They're going to hire you and me because we're great at what we do. But the branding by
Hmm.
itself is like, we're only going to lose a sale if it gets in the way. Like they're saying, holy crap, like this logo was like, who did you hire for this logo? You know what I mean?
Right.
If your logo was
That's when you don't even get the call.
right, it's if your logo was pixelated or like a horrible font that people would say, wow, she can't, like I'm saying, like, you have a website and you're going to go and sell yourself as a speaker or an event. Like we're going to be talking 5, 10, $20,000, and you can't even spend like, $1,000 on a decent logo or a couple $1,000 on a decent website. It just doesn't add up, right? So
Right.
obviously, if you're selling $5 services, or if you're a nonprofit, or if you're just doing things for the poor kids and whatnot, then yeah, I understand you may not have the budget, but nonetheless, like that. So that was the branding part. And I think we got some good stuff there. The second thing that's important I wanted to talk with you about. By the way, is there anything else you want to say about branding?
I think the only thing I'd add is also that it becomes an extension of who you are as a person. So for
Mm-hmm.
example, when I'm at a wedding related event, whether that's a wedding or a client meeting or a conference, I'm going to be in that attire, in that uniform, the little black cocktail dress, the chunky accessories, all that
Mm,
kind of thing. Switching over to represent myself under Tonia Adleta, then I'm going to be in the color palette of the seascape. I'm going to be in more free-flowing, like those types of things that you can really personify your brand. And I think that's an important piece for consistency. I've literally had people come up to me at events going, wait a second, are you Arabella? Because people always assume that that's my name, but because they recognized who I was based on how I tied into the different components. So it's a lot
mm-hmm.
of fun to play with that and really
Mm.
personify what's important to you in the branding.
Right, right, and I think you're absolutely right. It needs to tie into everything. It needs to tie in your folders. It needs to, and it's kind of like it's the same thing. What I'm getting at this is like it's not the. It, I don't know how to express that. It just, it's a given that you're going to have a proper business card. It's like
Right. Absolutely.
I'm just going to say a couple of things here. Is I got this business card like a couple of days ago, and I thought it was absolutely brilliant from a candy store,
That's
bulk
cute.
candy store, and I thought it was great, like, how, and the entire branding of his website and everything is that that's just a candy. And I just thought it was just really, really smart and cute, double-sided card and whatnot. That's the type of stuff that people around, please don't have a boring card. This guy, I met him, Roy Assad, like it's a very thick card, like I mean, I don't think I could fold it. It's just so thick. This is a managing partner. It's a human capital group. I mean, this business card is telling me this guy, the feeling I get is like, wow, this guy's a big deal. Like it's an embossed card. Like it's a nice card. You know what I mean? It just he's got credibility out of his card.
Yeah.
Right? Now, obviously, if he's got a dirty suit and he can, put two sentences together, I'm not going to do business with him. So, the business card is not, but it's a little thing. All right, cool. So now let's talk about event promotion, because I know you do a lot of event promotion. I have done events. I do events on an ongoing basis to promote things. I have failed miserably in promoting events, and I had stuff that was very successful. So how do you promote events?
I think it depends, first of all, on what the purpose of the event is. And there's a couple different layers to it too. So let's assume that we're not talking about a wedding because obviously that has a different criteria. So let's say we're doing an entrepreneurship training conference or something
Mm-hmm.
like that.
Yeah.
You're looking at a couple different things. One is your client experience for those in the room, and then also what could become marketing collateral to use later and to continue filling that funnel. Because
Mm-hmm.
events, typically speaking, are not a once and done thing. You're
Mm-hmm.
setting an expectation of what's to
Right.
come, and you're going to have that as a continuous cycle. So there's
Mm-hmm.
a lot of different things you've got to think through in how you are hitting those end goals. And I
Mm-hmm.
think so often one of the things that we see with the person who wants to host their own event, say, it's a workshop or a retreat, they're not always thinking about what happens when people leave, and they leave a lot of money on the table, and they don't fulfill the experience expectations of the people who are in the room because they're just not carrying things through.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Do you use Facebook to promote your events? What's the medium that you use the most, and what platform? How do you go about to promote the events that you're involved with?
Most of the events that we're doing for our clients, when we're doing the planning and the execution of them, most of them are internal. So that's going to be, the company picnic, the holiday party, that type of a thing. For
Mm-hmm.
my own brand, when we're looking at doing the single parent summit, doing workshops and retreats we've got coming up, Facebook ads are the primary. But then also, I'd say maybe even more important than that is relationship marketing. That has been huge for us.
So tell me more about that. What is relationship marketing?
I think a lot of it comes into the collaboration side of things. Like, for example, on this summit, we already have, I mean, this idea is literally 2.5 weeks old. We
Mm-hmm.
already have 20 speakers that are confirmed and another 16 that are pending. These are
Mm.
all people that I personally have met and have created a relationship with, not with any intention of actually hosting a summit. I mean, this was news to me as much as it was anybody else, but with the idea of, wow, this person's really fantastic and they've got such an amazing gift, an amazing experience. I want to be able to share that with other people. So it's getting to have that genuine, honest human connection. And again, creating connection between other people. So it goes right back to my why. It's just the way that I think in, oh, I'm having such this lovely moment with you and I so appreciate this aspect. And oh my goodness, you need to meet so-and-so because this is what they do. And here's how you guys could work together.
Right,
So it
build
really comes
relationship,
down to
yeah.
that connection.
Mm,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, okay, so I totally get it. For us is what we do is we leverage Facebook enormously. We know that our collective attention as a community and in the United States and whatnot is predominantly on Facebook. So
Mm-hmm.
we have we have multiple mediums to choose from, but we don't have unlimited budgets for most of the stuff that we do, so we kind of like have to pick one. I think that right now for most of us, Facebook is the 800-pound gorilla in the room. The thing that we try to do for all the promotions, and what we've seen in the mistakes that we've done, there are two things when you're doing it on Facebook and you doing event promotion or you promoting anything. Number one is the quality of the creative. Which the quality of the graphic, the quality of the piece of content that you're putting in front of people, and I think that's really key. And the second is the target audience. So when we're seeing something that doesn't work, that's the first two things we're going to look at. We're going to
Mm-hmm.
look at, was it the quality of the creative? And sometimes we think, oh, that was good, but it's like, let's really look at it. And it says, was it good quality? Did it convey a good message? And we have a tendency
Mm-hmm.
just not to, we like kind of like the stuff we do, but we have to look at it objectively.
Right.
Was it really good? And then sometimes we like it and we says, yeah, we could have done, maybe like we didn't convey this or didn't convey that. So that's the creative by itself is something to look at. And the second thing is the target audience. So if you have
Mm.
if you have a promotion that didn't work, that didn't result in people RSVPing, registering, and whatnot, you have to look at those two things. Target audience, did we target the right people, and is this a good quality creative? Now what we know for a fact is that we want to consume videos.
Mm-hmm.
So obviously it's videos. Square format is really much better for us because most of this content is consumed on our mobile phones, and the
Mm-hmm.
square format will just take more of the screen than a rectangular format. So something to consider if you're going to have video. Just make sure you put it in a square format. For events, what we've done is we've kind of like set it up as identifying the dissatisfaction or identify the pain, and
Mm.
then identifying what's missing for people, right? So are you this, are you that, or you don't have enough of this, you don't have enough of that, right? So just kind of like identify that. Those are the one,
Right.
two, three things, and then just basically, well, this conference is going to address this, that, and that, and it's going to address this, that, and that by this speaker, that panel, and that workshop that we're going to have at the event. And the
Mm-hmm.
event is on that day at that time, and we need you to be there, right? And then right there,
Right.
right below, here's the link, and then rinse, repeat. You don't do it again and again and
Can I
again.
say, please, I mean, the fact of mentioning the when and the where, I can't believe how many times people tend to leave that off, which is kind of like, okay, you want to get their attention, you want them to click through, that's fine, but give us the details, straight away, because if we've got a conflict or what have you, maybe we'll put it into a file and be able to check in on it later. But if
Mm-hmm.
you're not communicating the basics of an event,
Mm-hmm.
then really you're kind of dropping the ball for your audience there. You're giving them more work to have to pursue that information.
Yeah, it's a pet peeve of mine of people putting a link to an event or to something to register, and then you click on it with the intent to register, and it takes you someplace else, and then you
Mm-hmm.
have to go through hoops, and you're like, where am I going? Like I just click on RSVP and now I'm on a landing page. Whatever your button says, if it says RSVP, then it needs to go to an RSVP page, not to your landing page.
Absolutely.
I know you're in love with your landing page because you've spent an enormous amount of time working on it, but the button said RSVP. If I click on RSVP, take me to the RSVP thing. And you can have another one that says for more information or for the agenda. That would be great.
Exactly.
Take me to the agenda.
You can bring them back as a thank you, back to the landing page. Like you can still make them see it, but yeah, the consistency in the messaging, in the verbiage.
Right, and the hoops, right? You have to go through hoops to RSVP, and it's like, like you really are making it difficult. So I got to click to this and then this and that, and I have to pick a thing. I'm like, oh, for God's sake, just can we just get on with this thing? So so that's that. And I was talking about what didn't work for event promotion, for us. And I think that every time we looked at it and we had campaigns where we've put, the good news with Facebook is you can try a campaign for $20 and then just see do people respond to it. So if they respond to it, well, then put 100 because if you put $20 and nobody responds to it and says, well, let's look at it. And every time for us, it was either the creative or the target audience.
I think that's
most
so
of
helpful.
most of the time it's the creative. I mean, it's not easy. It's not easy to get it right. With getting the right video and whatnot, you got to try things and whatnot. So that's that.
Yeah, very true. You've dropped some excellent wisdom here for people.
Thank you. Well, I'll try to. It's trial and errors. I don't know if it's wisdom. It's just I'm.
Well, the wisdom is in the learning from the trial and error, right?
You become wise because you get punched in the face, several times, and you got back up all bloated.
And then you start to figure it out.
I'm like, let's not do that again.
Exactly.
I know you have an event. You talked about it, the Single Parent Summit. I think it's an amazing event that you're doing. I think there's a lot of people that would be interested about this. So I'd like you to talk about it, who it is for. So what's the pain? What's the issue that people are doing, and then how your event is going to be answering that. Talk to our audience about this event.
Yeah, thank you. Thanks so much. The funny thing is the way that this came up was in a conversation with another coach. I do, entrepreneurship mentoring and coaching, and I am a single parent. I've got two amazing kids, both teenagers now. And the reason why I started into this work in terms of mentoring was because all of the standard business advice did not apply to me. And I tried for years to follow, just do one thing and do that really well. And you've got to get this to this level of income before you try and do anything else, and, all the different things. And when you're a single parent entrepreneur, like not just being an entrepreneur, but you're a single parent entrepreneur, the rules change. Everything is different for us. Yeah. So the whole thing started with the idea of, nobody's really talking to the single parent entrepreneurs. I think you should be that person. And I kind of heard that and put it like, my arms immediately extended of going, no, you don't understand. It's so hard to be a single parent. And I had to work to get out of the victim mentality and out of the martyr, draw. So I don't want to go back there. That was kind of like my first hesitance. So I slept on it and the idea just never left. And instead it was like, wait a second, I managed to get out. If I can do it, surely I can help other people do the same thing. So the more that I started to research this and again, reach out to those friends I've established, within a week, we had a number of amazing, amazing people all committed to this project. So already right now, we've got 20 confirmed speakers. We've got another few more that are pending, which are really going to blow everyone's socks off if they come in together. So we'll see how this all goes. But we've got, the way I see it, we've got 4 different categories of single parent. Either, the most obvious for everyone, I think, is divorce. The next is those that have, lost their partner. So, going through grief and loss there. The third is a smaller category, but it's those that have intentionally chosen to start a family without being partnered. And more often than not, we see this in the stereotypical, like, high-powered executive woman who just never found the right guy and wanted to still have a family. And then lastly, we have our military, and I am the daughter of a vet. I have a huge soft spot for our military, and I can't imagine what it must be like when you are at home as the primary parent and your husband or wife is deployed. So really, you are a single parent during that time frame, even though you are partnered. Your partner's halfway across the country, or halfway across the world, rather. So we're hitting each of these 4 different categories, and we're covering everything from the really practical health and wellness, financial matters, legal matters, all of that type of a thing. Then we're getting into the much deeper components. One of our speakers is a dad whose teenage daughter committed suicide after their very difficult custody battle and all the rest of it. There were 900 people that came to her wake, and he realized the power that she had in her light in that world, and basically decided to pick up her message and carry it through in a way to honor her and honor her life. As a result, their family is more together now, and there's been some major healing that's happened between all the stepkids and the stepparents, being able to heal that by way of her loss. So I mean, that's just one example that we have of the type of people that are a part of this.
Okay,
it's going to be pretty
awesome.
exciting.
Yeah, so if you're a single parent and you're a business owner, an entrepreneur and whatnot, you basically, what I heard you say, you're going to talk about everything about finance, organizing yourself, legal matters and everything. So it's really, it's great. I mean, it's really targeted for single parent because there is a set of issues that you have to deal with as single parent. No, I'm not a single parent. I am, happily married to Colleen. But Colleen travels quite a bit. She's been traveling a lot this year. And when she travels, I'm a single parent because I got the kids and I got to take them up and, make sure they get dressed in the morning. No, you're not wearing that. Right. And I'm telling you, those days are, wow, they're hectic because the morning is like, okay, get dressed, let's go, take them to school. I arrive in the office and it feels like, half an hour later, it's just time to go and pick them up again. Then I go and pick them up, and then sometimes I bring them here, and then I feel guilty because, they're sitting, reading a book or doing homework while I'm working, and we get home and it's dinner and it's just like, holy moly. I mean, my heart goes out to a single parent because I get to experience that in very, very, very short snippets. And I'm like, Colleen comes home and I'm like, thank you.
You're celebrating, right?
Yeah, I'm like, oh, thank you. Like, well, what happened to you? It's like, and I do the, I make sure the house is, okay when she comes home, that there's not socks hanging on the ceiling fan and the dishes is not piled up to here. But it's she was gone like 4 or 5 days, not long, but that was quite something. So my heart goes out to that. I was raised by my dad. I was part of the death in the family. My dad passed when I was very young, so I was raised by a single mom. So I have enormous amount of compassion and empathy for that, because I know it's not easy. I didn't understand it as a child, but now I'm seeing it. I'm like, wow, my heart goes out to that. So when is that event?
That is going to start airing July 17th.
It's July 17th. And is this an on-location event? Is this virtual?
It's a virtual event, and we're going to start registrations right after the 1st of July. So look for that to be coming very, very soon.
How else could it be? Like, how much time do the single parents
have to all get together, right?
It has to be. Let me guess. It's never going to be either too early or too late. It's going to be right in the middle of the day where the kids are somewhere, right?
Right, of course.
So it's going to be virtual, so mid-July, which is basically a month from now.
Right around the corner.
How people can RSVP for it? It's going to be multiple days or one day, or how does that work?
It is. It depends on how many speakers we end up with at the final point. At this point, I'm looking at probably 4 to 5 days, and then a number of different speakers for each of those days. So you can register for free for access for that 24 hours, or you can pay $97 and have access to all of it for a lifetime. So that'll be both audio and video for each of the different segments.
That's very, very cool. So I wish you the best of success, and I know
Thank
you're still
you.
working on the links and whatnot. But when I publish this video, I'm going to put the links either right below or right above wherever it lands. But there'll be a link to that event, and please share it and pass it on to any single parent that out there, because I think this is going to be a great event, and there's certainly a huge need for that. So with that, I just want to really thank you, Tonia, for taking the time to speak with me and do this webcast. And thank you so much.
Oh my goodness. Thank you, Antoine. I appreciate it. Thanks so much.
Thank you.